Only because my identity as the false heir of the Evans family was exposed, everyone in the city started laughing at me. My father told me to leave the house with nothing. The true heir took away everything I had painstakingly built. Even my fiancée became his woman. She said, "I've always wanted to marry Ethan, not a stray dog like you." What none of them knew was that after their high-profile engagement party, I really found my biological parents. My name is Sincere Jenkins, the only son of the richest family in the South. I had lived with the Evans family for over 20 years, only to be told I was just an adopted son. When the true heir of the Evans family was found, the whole city was in an uproar. Everyone knew that I had been kicked out and was now a stray dog. Not only that, my fiancée also cut off contact with me, and I hadn't heard from her in a week. Desperate, I searched half the city but couldn't find her, until someone sent me a location directing me to a downtown bar. Standing outside the private room, I saw Victoria, my fiancée, nestled in Ethan's arms, her eyes full of tenderness and love. She said, "Ethan, we were helplessly separated in the past, but now that you're back with the Evans family, we can pick up where we left off." Ethan chuckled, looked at Victoria and said, "But I see you two are getting along well. Can you really give up on Sincere?" Victoria snorted coldly. "He's just a stray dog. What's there to miss? We were meant to be together, but my dad forced me to marry him. I only chose him because he was so desperate for my love. To me, no one else matters but you." As she spoke, Victoria moved closer to Ethan, almost kissing him. Seeing this scene, my heart ached deeply, filled with both anger and despair. Meanwhile, she nestled in Ethan's arms, her voice soft and coquettish. "Ethan, will you still have me? If you say yes, I'll break up with him right now." Seeing their intimate behavior, the crowd started to jeer. Ethan seemed to enjoy the attention, smiling even more brightly. He raised an eyebrow and said, "Sure." Saying this, he pulled Victoria tighter, took out his phone and handed it to her. The two exchanged loving glances and gestures. Victoria dialed my number right in front of him. The phone rang outside the door, and in an instant, everyone turned their eyes to me. Someone instinctively called out Mr. Evans, but was quickly corrected, "Not Mr. Evans anymore, he's been kicked out." Seeing my appearance, Victoria looked flustered and said, "Sincere, when did you get here?" I bitterly replied, "If I didn't come, how would I know my fiancé had become someone else's?" Victoria's lips moved as if to explain, but in the end, she just looked conflicted. Ethan gave me a playful glance and said to Victoria, "Victoria, I don't want anyone else in your heart. Do you understand?" Victoria hesitated, but Ethan's gentle gaze seemed to encourage her. She looked at me, grabbed a bottle of red wine from the table, and poured it over my head. At that moment, I felt utterly defeated and humiliated. She said, "Sincere, the one I've always loved is Ethan. You were just a clown who took his place for over 20 years. Now that he's back, you're just a stray dog. We're no longer from the same world, so the wedding is off." The wine kept dripping down, and Victoria's gaze was cold. This reminded me of the anticipation and hope in her eyes when we first got engaged, talking about our future. But now, her hopeful gaze was replaced by indifference, and my burning heart felt like it had fallen into an ice cave. It turned out that all my sincere efforts over the years were just her settling. Seeing my miserable state, Ethan smiled triumphantly and said, "Get lost. Don't ever appear in front of me again. Seeing you disgusts me." Ignoring Ethan's taunts, I locked eyes with Victoria. At that moment, everyone fell silent. The surrounding noise disappeared. I closed my eyes, wiped the wine from my face, and time seemed to freeze. When I opened my eyes again, Victoria instinctively took a step back. In the next second, I grabbed the back of her head with my left hand, wiped my face with my right hand, and pressed my wine-soaked hand to her face. Shock and fear flashed in Victoria's eyes as I slowly wiped my hand clean on her face. Such a materialistic woman is better off without. Disgusted, I pushed her away, severing all the feelings we had built over the years. Everyone was stunned and at a loss. I turned and left, saying calmly, "I hope neither of you will ever regret this." By the time their curses caught up with me, I was long gone. Outside the bar, I took off the engagement ring and threw it into the sewer without hesitation, as if discarding our rotten relationship. Ethan was Victoria's long-lost love. Initially, they were a perfect match, and I was just an unexpected intruder. The three of us attended the same university. Back then, Ethan, who had not yet returned to the Evans family and was called Ethan Peters, was a famous poor student at school. He was famous not only because he was handsome and had excellent grades, but also because he despised me. He often mocked me for being a spoiled rich kid, criticizing me for buying a house off campus instead of staying in the school's 6-person dormitory. And I would retort, questioning why I had to suffer needlessly. We were like water and fire, and the school forum often became a battleground for our supporters. But this battle ended in my defeat. At that time, I fell in love with Victoria at first sight and pursued her for 2.5 years, enduring her rejections for just as long. But I never gave up, because once I set my mind on something, I persistently strive for it. Eventually, she softened, even holding my hand the day before Valentine's Day. Just when I thought I had finally won her over, Ethan confessed his feelings to her, and she gladly accepted. So, the headline on the school forum became, "Rich young man's unrequited love, poor genius wins the girl's heart." This put an end to the feud between me and Ethan. After they got together, I wisely stepped back and never pestered Victoria again. I thought our fate was over, but 3 years later we became arranged marriage partners through our families. The Lloyd family was very particular about status and never approved of Ethan because of his humble background. They repeatedly obstructed their relationship, eventually forcing them apart. Otherwise, Victoria wouldn't have appeared at the arranged marriage meeting. When we met, we were both surprised to see each other. I knew she still had feelings for Ethan, but when she suggested giving us a try, I couldn't resist agreeing. After all, I had never let go of her all these years. I believed I could win Victoria's heart with sincerity and devotion, becoming the only man she loved. Once we were together, things went better than I had imagined. Like all couples, we had our moments of love and quarrels. Soon we were talking about marriage. Just then, my adoptive father brought Ethan back to the Evans family, announcing he was his true son. Only then did I find out I was an adopted son. As the true heir returned to the family, I was kicked out immediately. The once poor Ethan suddenly became the wealthy Ethan Evans, and the long-lost love Victoria had for him shone brightly once again. She abandoned me without hesitation. Victoria's actions broke my heart completely. From the beginning to the end, Ethan was always in her heart. All the love she showed me was just an act. She had never truly tried to accept me. As for my adoptive father, Harold Evans, who rarely showed me kindness, he couldn't hide his happiness when he got his true son back. He kicked me out, leaving me nothing but the clothes on my back. At Ethan and Victoria's engagement party, he made me publicly announce that I was leaving the Evans family voluntarily, taking nothing with me. Harold was indeed a shrewd businessman. He let everyone know that the Evans family had found their true son without neglecting the adopted one. He spread the narrative that I was willingly returning to my biological parents, even at the cost of leaving with nothing. And he had tried to keep me but couldn't. By doing this, he bought a good reputation for the Evans family after more than 20 years of raising me. This change in status made everyone abandon me, revealing their true colors. Since that was the case, I decided to return everything from the past 20 years, including the Evans name. What people didn't know was that after their high-profile engagement party, I really found my biological parents. My name is Sincere Jenkins, the only son of Richard Jenkins, the richest man in the South. Before returning to the Jenkins family, I still had some matters to attend to. After graduation, while managing the Evans Corporation, I had worked with my schoolmates to develop a new patented technology, which was meant to be the core of the Evans Corporation's new product. But now that was no longer necessary. We decided to sell the patent. My father, Richard, fully supported my decision, saying I could ask for anything I needed. Once everything was settled, he would publicly welcome me back to the Jenkins family with great fanfare. Before returning to the Jenkins family, my father gave me tens of billions of dollars and several properties worth millions as a gesture of compensation. He said these were just meeting gifts and that everything in the Jenkins family would be mine once I returned. What I now possessed far exceeded what I had at the Evans family. After moving into my new place, I received a message from a schoolmate saying he had found a buyer and arranged a meeting at a coffee shop in an hour. I brought the prepared documents and went to the agreed location with my schoolmate. Upon arrival, I was surprised to see that the buyer was Ethan Evans. He looked equally shocked, unable to hide the jealousy in his eyes. He gritted his teeth and said, "I can't believe someone like you could develop this patent." Facing Ethan, I showed no warmth and coldly replied, "What about someone like me? Not only can I develop this patent, but I can also choose not to sell it to someone like you. What can you do about it?" I glanced at Victoria, who looked dazed beside him, then turned and left the coffee shop with my schoolmate. Just a few steps out the door, Victoria ran after me saying, "Sincere, wait a minute." She blocked my path, self-righteously demanding, "Ethan just returned to the Evans Corporation. The new product cannot go wrong. Your patent is crucial to him. Just sell it to him." Hearing the name Sincere, I felt nothing but disdain. What disgusted me even more was Victoria's arrogant attitude. I smiled and said, "That makes me even more determined not to sell it." Victoria retorted, "How can you be like this?" Stomping her feet in frustration, she found herself helpless. Perhaps she never expected that I would refuse her request, as I had always accommodated her before. As I tried to walk past her, Ethan also came out, hands in his pockets, arrogantly saying, "Enough with the act. You just want money, don't you? Out of pity, I'll offer you 5% more than the original price. Consider it a favor from me." Victoria chimed in, "You're getting a great deal. You should thank Ethan." I laughed and said thank him. I wouldn't sell it to him even if he begged me. Not only that, but I'd also love to see how Mr. Evans manages without this patent. Ethan's smug expression instantly darkened. Ethan gritted his teeth and said, "So you won't accept a good offer, huh? You're just a stray dog now. Will you keep this up until you starve?" Victoria looked at me with disdain, her tone sharp. "I know you've lost everything and feel bitter, but there's no need to take it out on us. Ethan offering to buy your patent is already giving you face. Why else would you come here if not to sell it?" I glanced at them with disgust and sneered. "I'd rather both of us lose than let you win. Your misery is my delight. I came to sell to a company that can steal your market share. Had I known it was you, I wouldn't have wasted my time." Once in the car, Daniel, my schoolmate, quickly apologized. Damn it, they used a fake name when contacting me. Had I known, I would never have agreed. Daniel had always supported me, even after I was kicked out by the Evans family. I waved my hand to reassure him, "It's okay, don't worry about it." As we chatted, Ethan messaged me, "You're just a dog kicked out of the house. Do you think you can keep barking at me forever? Let's see how long you can keep this up before begging to sell your broken patent." Reading his arrogant words, I couldn't help but think, so this is what a nouveau riche looks like. Threatened, and yet all he can do is talk big. Back when he was a poor boy, he wouldn't dare talk so brazenly to anyone. Daniel saw the message and couldn't help but laugh. This guy sure gained a lot of confidence after returning to the Evans family. He seems to have forgotten who he is. But soon after, I received a call from Harold Evans. "Give your patent to Ethan," he commanded, as if I were born to serve the Evans family. I responded coolly, "And if I refuse?" There was a moment of silence on the other end before he shouted, "Don't forget, I gave you 20 years of a luxurious life. Do you have no conscience?" I hadn't planned to make things too ugly, but his words ignited a fire in me. I laughed coldly. Who carried Evans Corp through its crisis? Who increased its assets multiple times? I gave everything I had to save the company, and you handed it all to your son. At Ethan and Victoria's engagement party, you made me play the role of a willing exile. That repaid any debt I owed you. My voice dropped as I added, "Mr. Evans, do you think you can control me forever with this moral blackmail? I can be ruthless if needed." Harold sighed, softening his tone. "Sincere, I raised you for over 20 years. Can't you do me this one favor? Funny how you only talk about feelings when you need my help. When you kicked me out, there wasn't a hint of mercy. I scoffed. You never acted like a father, Harold. Or have you forgotten you kicked me out with nothing? Now you play the sentiment card? By the way, my name is Sincere Jenkins. I hung up immediately, blocking all contacts from Ethan, Victoria, and Harold. Ethan's confidence came from the Evans family. He thought his father's plea would make me hand over the patent out of gratitude, but he underestimated my resolve. More importantly, I owed the Evans family nothing. After dropping Daniel home, I returned to my luxurious villa, which far outshined the Evans mansion. Just as I finished a hot shower and prepared for a good night's sleep, Daniel messaged me that I was being smeared online. I quickly checked my phone to see that Victoria had used her million-follower account to defame me. Victoria had been an internet influencer since college, growing from a fashion blogger to a beauty guru with over 2 million followers. She claimed that Ethan, the young master of Evans Corp, wanted to buy my patent, but I raised the price tenfold out of spite. She even said that during college, I was always jealous of Ethan and used my resources to suppress him. After a long tirade against me, she declared that Lloyd Group would invest $1 million in Ethan's project. With her influence, the post quickly went viral, gaining immense traction online. Coupled with a retweet and confirmation from Harold Evans, the internet was flooded with insults directed at me. People commented, "This guy has no humanity. Without the Evans family's care, he might not even be alive now." Others said, "I've seen greedy people, but hiking the price tenfold, that's insane." And some remarked, "He pretended to leave everything voluntarily, but now we see his true greedy nature." Browsing through the comments, I saw many vile and offensive remarks. It seemed people no longer cared about the truth, only about having a target for their anger. My phone rang, displaying an unknown number. After hesitating briefly, I answered. Victoria's voice snapped at me. "Sincere, you even blocked my number. Are you afraid to face me?" I kept my voice calm. "What do you want?" She replied, "Have you seen the online outrage? I'm giving you a chance now. Sell your patent to Ethan at a lower price and publicly apologize to him. I'll then clear your name and delete the post. This will all be over." Victoria still spoke as if she had me completely under her control. I rubbed my temples, listening to my former lover so resolutely standing against me, so gently protecting her new love. It made me realize how unfortunate it was to have such a foolish partner. I said, "After all I've done for you, all you give me in return is malicious slander? Do you have to drive me to ruin? Could you at least tell the truth?" Hearing my plea, Victoria's voice became even more disdainful. "Don't bring up the past. Your one-sided affection makes me sick. I've always loved Ethan. If it weren't for you, we'd be together. You deserve everything that's happening. I suggest you sell the patent to us before the online abuse drives you to jump off a building. Don't blame me if it comes to that." I smirked. "What's the point of calling me now? You can't keep the issue trending forever. Who'll remember your lies in a few days? I'll just wait for it to blow over. I won't sell. What can you do about it?" Before she could reply, I hung up. As I expected, the online outrage grew worse. My father, Richard, was furious. He informed me that the Jenkins Group's PR team was ready to launch a comprehensive counterattack. I knew it was the quickest way, but I had my own plans. I wanted to fuel the fire a bit more before making my move. Daniel helped me reach out to his friends in the media. They knew I was being slandered and wanted to help. I was grateful, especially since many had avoided me after I was kicked out. I said, "Thank you for your concern, I have a plan." Daniel excitedly asked, "What's your plan? How can we help?" I smiled and replied, "I recorded our conversations and calls." Daniel exclaimed, "That's brilliant! Release the recordings now. My friends can help you fight back." I stirred my coffee, strategizing, "No rush. Let them climb higher. The fall will be more devastating." To keep Victoria busy, I sent her daily messages, alternating between pleading and refusing to sell the patent. Each time, her frustration grew. As the online fury intensified, Victoria's followers soared, and Evans Corp. Stock rose, attracting new partners. I never imagined defaming me would bring them such benefits. Watching them revel in their success, I knew my opportunity was approaching. Evans Corp. Had long-eyed a piece of prime real estate in North Town. Recently, I leaked to them, through Jenkins Group, plans for a large shopping mall and film base in the area. The auction for the land finally arrived. Dressed sharply, I attended the auction, drawing the attention of Ethan and Victoria. They walked towards me, disbelief evident on their faces. Ethan sneered, "Dressed up nicely, but this isn't a place for just anyone. Leave before security throws you out." I laughed. "If they're letting in strays like you, their security must be lacking." Ethan's face turned red with anger, but before he could retort, I turned to find my seat. Frustrated, Ethan sat next to me, whispering mockingly, "Surprised you're not starving and even made it to the auction. The only way you'll ever get back on your feet is by selling that worthless patent. Feeling stupid for acting high and mighty now?" Ignoring his taunts, I focused on the auction. When the bidding began, Ethan boldly called out $1 million, trying to intimidate me with his high offer. I quietly raised my paddle, adding 100,000. Auction rules required a minimum raise of 100,000 each time. Ethan, clearly not expecting my calm response, reluctantly increased his bid by $1 million each time. As the amount rose, other bidders dropped out, leaving just Ethan and me in a bidding war. The price soon reached $1 million. Ethan, visibly shaking with anger despite Victoria's attempts to calm him, glared at me. "You've probably put everything you have into this. Do you think you can develop this land? Competing with me? You must be out of your mind." With a triumphant smile, Ethan raised his paddle and shouted, "10 million!" The room gasped in shock. I couldn't help but laugh internally. Paying $10 million for this land was absurd. I knew from my inside sources at Evans Corp. That Harold had capped Ethan's budget at $4 million. I had no intention of continuing the bid, but Ethan's impulsive arrogance was leading him into a trap of his own making. With the auctioneer's final gavel strike, thunderous applause erupted. Ethan beamed with pride, basking in the spotlight as the night's undisputed winner. But as I watched his moment of glory, I couldn't help but smile slightly, knowing his joy would be short-lived. Just after the auctioneer announced the $10 million bid, I released my pre-prepared exposé online. The article detailed my relationship with Victoria and Ethan, including all recorded conversations and phone calls. I even included recordings of Harold Evans instructing me to announce I was leaving the Evans family voluntarily at their engagement party. With the help of my friends in the media and the Jenkins Group's PR team, the article went viral within half an hour, completely shifting online public opinion. Faced with irrefutable evidence, Victoria's defamation fell apart instantly, and she was publicly condemned. Netizens quickly redirected their anger towards Victoria and the Evans family. Comments flooded in, "This is disgusting." They kicked him out, then slandered him to steal his technology. The poor guy lost everything and still got bullied. Victoria, acting all innocent, turned out to be the worst. She played him like a fool and ran back to her white moonlight at the first chance. Harold Evans is heartless. When the company was in crisis, he ran away and let his adopted son handle everything. Now he hands the success over to his biological son and kicks the adopted one out. Ethan Evans is a complete idiot, acting like a big shot just because of newfound wealth. Due to the backlash, Victoria lost all her endorsements and collaborations, facing breach of contract fines amounting to millions. Evans Corp faced a wave of contract terminations, not only from recent deals made after defaming me but also from long-standing partners. Combined with compensation claims, their finances were in dire straits. Then I received a call from Victoria, her voice filled with panic. "Sincere, you're ruining Ethan's life. Please clear his name. Do it for me, for old time's sake." I laughed coldly. "Funny how you play the sentiment card when you need something. Mentioning the past only disgusts me more. Where was your sympathy when you were orchestrating the online abuse against me?" Silence followed, just the sound of her labored breathing. "How about this?" she continued. "I'll spend a night with you. Didn't you always love me? If that's not enough, I'll stay with you for a month, or even 6 months. Just help Ethan." I rolled my eyes. Did she really think I couldn't live without her? "Sorry, Victoria, but a cheap, unscrupulous woman like you doesn't interest me. Get lost." I hung up and blocked another number. Not long after, my phone rang again. Sincere, you're being unreasonable. Fix this mess now. Evans Corp. Stocks are plummeting and we have mounting compensation to pay, Harold barked. I chuckled. How is this my problem? His voice rose. You caused this. Who else will fix it? Remember, I raised you for over 20 years, I said. Same old line. I've repaid every debt. Moral blackmail won't work on me. Harold's tone softened. Are you really going to watch Evans Corp fall? Did you forget how hard you worked for this company? I paused briefly, then laughed. I didn't work hard to see others reap the rewards, and I no longer bear the Evans name. What happens to Evans Corp is none of my business. He threatened. Fine, I see how it is. Even if I'm in a crisis, taking you down will be easy. Just wait and see. Oh, I replied nonchalantly and hung up. I was genuinely speechless at their audacity. Another foolish move. I uploaded this conversation online and reported it to the police. As expected, Harold was questioned by authorities and public outrage grew. Evans Corp, already on the brink, was now teetering on collapse. I blocked all unknown numbers. Eventually, I received a message claiming to be from Ethan, asking to meet. Curious, I agreed. In a secluded tea house outside the city, I met a haggard Ethan, looking years older than before. No wonder he chose such an obscure spot. He had become a public pariah. You knew that land couldn't be developed in the short term, didn't you? Ethan accused. Now we can't even sell it. Ethan, was it necessary to go this far? The Evans family raised you for 20 years and you repay them by ruining us? Ethan's fists clenched as he glared at me. I replied calmly, actually, even if it could be developed, you still couldn't sell it. The plans for the shopping mall and film base were fake, leaked by me. Ethan stood up, ready to lash out. I smiled. What's the matter, getting anxious? Attacking me won't solve anything. Let's talk business. He took a deep breath and sat down. I'll give you an offer you can't refuse. 10 million, and Victoria is yours. I lost. Victoria belongs to you now. I just need 10 million, he said, his eyes glinting with desperation. I looked at him incredulously. Are you serious? I never loved her. She was just a tool. Do we have a deal? Ethan smirked, thinking he had the upper hand. I stood up. No deal. She's not worth 10 million. Keep her. Unlike you, I don't enjoy wearing green hats. With that, I left. Days later, I encountered Victoria again, like a haunting ghost. She waited for me at my usual coffee shop, makeup barely masking her haggard appearance. Sincere, please help Ethan. I'm begging you. I ignored her and tried to leave, but she knelt before me, tears brimming in her eyes. I'll kneel if that's what you want. You just want to see me beg, right? This mess started because of you. I don't blame you. Just help him. I can't watch his life be destroyed. Seeing the once proud Victoria on her knees, still trying to manipulate me, I felt only disdain. Before I could respond, Ethan rushed in, pulling Victoria up. Don't kneel to someone like him. Even if we never recover, as long as I have you, my life is complete. Victoria, moved by his words, nodded resolutely. I'll sell my grandfather's car, house, and company shares to repay the debts. No one can save you, Ethan. I realized Ethan's newfound confidence came from coveting her inheritance. Victoria, your goodness will never be forgotten, he declared. Before he could say more, I played the recording of his betrayal. 10 million and Victoria is yours. Their faces turned pale. Ethan, stunned, asked, How did you get that recording? Ethan, you never learn. You've fallen for this trick how many times? I'm recording this conversation too, I said, showing the recording device. Ethan, enraged, lunged at me. But Victoria slapped him hard. You betrayed my trust, we're done. No one can save you now. She stormed out, and Ethan followed, leaving me satisfied. Keeping recordings ready for such fools was wise. Faced with insurmountable compensation, Harold sold Evans Corp. The original partners who hadn't turned against them out of loyalty soon followed, driven by my father, Richard Jenkins. With his intervention, Evans Corp collapsed entirely. Richard even bought the company, bringing everything full circle. Richard Jenkins had finally had enough and decided to take action. Once he intervened, the remaining partners immediately followed suit, terminating their contracts with Evans Corp. The company crumbled under the pressure. Jenkins Group acquired Evans Corp, and on the day the acquisition contract was signed, Richard sent me to handle it personally. Harold Evans looked significantly older, with gray hair and a haggard appearance. But when he saw me, a glimmer of hope flashed in his eyes. "Sincere, you've come. Are you finally willing to help your father?" I calmly took the main seat and said, "I think you need a reminder, Mr. Evans. My name is Sincere Jenkins, and I'm here representing Jenkins Group to sign the contract." He was shocked. "You're the son of Jenkins. Is there really no room for negotiation?" Harold's voice was hoarse and desperate. Looking at his forlorn expression, I couldn't help but feel a touch of irony. He said, "I've been harsh on you, but I've always treated you as my own son. Didn't I put you in charge of Evans Corp, making you the successor?" He continued, "I never thought I'd find Ethan. Can you forgive my shortcomings as a first-time father?" I laughed mockingly. "You're joking, right? You found Ethan 3 years ago." Harold was stunned, his voice trembling. "You knew," I continued, "handing me the reins of Evans Corp during a crisis, while you were abroad with Ethan, indulging him, buying luxury cars and watches. After I saved the company, you brought him home to take over all my hard work." I looked at him coldly. "You knew how to be a father just fine." Sweat dripped from Harold's forehead as he stammered, "I'm sorry, Sincere. I really am." I said, "Sign the contract." As I left the office with the signed papers, Harold looked like a frail old man, his former authority gone. Free from the Evans family, I felt a long overdue sense of relief. Planning to pack up for a relaxing trip, I found Victoria lurking outside my house. She had somehow learned my address and rushed over. When she saw me, she hurried to me, eyes red from crying. "Sincere, I was blind before. I didn't cherish you. Now I realize you're the one who truly loves me. Please give me another chance." She held up the engagement ring I had given her, saying, "Look, I found our engagement ring. I've divorced Ethan. Let's get back together." Coldly, I replied, "Victoria, are you delusional? Why would I ever want you back?" Her tears flowed as she pleaded, "Sincere, I know I made mistakes, but I've changed. We've shared so many years. How can you let go so easily?" I sneered, "You're asking me how I can let go? What mistakes did you make? How have you changed? Divorce and putting on a broken ring don't count as real change. You're desperate because the Lloyd family is collapsing, and you're about to become a stray." I scoffed, "Victoria, you're a stray dog. We don't belong to the same world anymore. Don't appear in front of me again. You disgust me." She choked. "Don't be so cruel, Sincere. You must still love me, right?" she screamed as I turned to get into my car, instructing my guards to remove her. During my trip, I heard that Victoria's situation worsened. To maintain their status, Charles Lloyd married her off to another wealthy businessman, an almost 50-year-old man. Meanwhile, after paying the compensations and declaring bankruptcy, the Evans father and son moved to a rundown neighborhood. Ethan, now idle, seemed mentally unstable, while Harold, too old to find decent work, ended up as a security guard, barely making ends meet. Having grown accustomed to luxury, their new life was unbearable, but they only had themselves to blame. I felt no pity for them. After my trip, I returned to Jenkins Group and gradually took on more responsibilities. In my free time, I traveled the world with my parents, enjoying a carefree and happy life. Finally freed from the entanglements with the Evans family, I felt an immense sense of relief. My father, Richard Jenkins, had taken control of the situation and ensured that Evans Corp was fully acquired by Jenkins Group. The collapse of Evans Corp was now complete, and I could focus on my future without the shadows of the past lingering over me. While planning a trip to relax and unwind, I was surprised to see Victoria lurking near my house. Somehow she had found my address and had come to seek me out. When she saw me, she rushed over, her eyes red from crying. "Sincere, I was wrong before. I didn't cherish you. Now I see that you were the one who truly loved me. Please, give me another chance," she pleaded. Holding up the engagement ring I had once given her, she continued, "Look, I found our engagement ring. I've divorced Ethan. Let's get back together." Coldly, I responded, "Victoria, are you out of your mind? Why would I ever take you back?" Her tears flowed more freely as she begged, "Sincere, I know I made mistakes, but I've changed. We've shared so many years together. How can you let go so easily?" I sneered, "You're asking me how I can let go. What mistakes did you make? How have you changed? Divorce and putting on a broken ring don't count as real change. You're desperate because the Lloyd family is collapsing, and you're about to become a stray." I scoffed, "Victoria, you're a stray dog. We don't belong to the same world anymore. Don't appear in front of me again." "You disgust me." She choked. "Don't be so cruel, Sincere. You must still love me, right?" she screamed as I turned to get into my car, instructing my guards to remove her. During my trip, I heard about Victoria's worsening situation. To maintain their status, Charles Lloyd had married her off to another wealthy businessman, an almost 50-year-old man. Meanwhile, after paying the compensations and declaring bankruptcy, Harold and Ethan Evans moved to a rundown neighborhood. Ethan, now idle, seemed mentally unstable, while Harold, too old to find decent work, ended up as a security guard, barely making ends meet. Having grown accustomed to luxury, their new life was unbearable. But they only had themselves to blame. I felt no pity for them. After my trip, I returned to Jenkins Group and gradually took on more responsibilities. In my free time, I traveled the world with my parents, enjoying a carefree and happy life.